Chad, I hear there's a new addition to your pack.
Yeah, I mean, well, you mean both metaphorically and literally, you're probably going to hear the new addition to the pack. This is the weirdest adoption we've ever had. So, when we first moved into this place in Burbank, like 2 years ago, multiple nights we'd hear just howling across the street.
Huh.
Like the saddest, loneliest dog howling. And we eventually realized, because like animal control kept going over to our neighbors, like I guess just talked about the noise complaints.
Yeah.
That they had some sort of German Shepherd Husky in their backyard, and they were never letting it in and never walking it, so it was just howling out of attention.
Oh.
And at some point, which felt really bad for them, there'd be nights where I couldn't like sleep, not because the dog was howling, because I just felt so bad for her. Like,
yeah,
I was like, oh, she's over there alone, and I hear her.
Yeah.
At some point in the last year, my partner Heidi got into this like neighborhood rotation of, we all agree this dog is being neglected.
Yeah.
But we can't do anything about it. I'm just, for a second, I was like, wait, would these previous owners listen to the podcast? No, they would not.
Not Goosebumps fans.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they could reverse search me and find this, but that would... They are not a group of people that seem to be diligent about their attention to their dog. So I doubt they'd be searching us.
Sure.
But like Heidi got into like this like neighborhood watch thing of, we'll all take turns asking to walk the dog for them.
Yeah.
Just to give her any sort of outlet. And like, yeah, it's really good. There's like multiple neighbors who are all trying to do this, and some kids that are like bonded with this dog. And the owners are just like, sure, fine, whatever, if you want to. Like, I'm not going to do it. Finally, last few months, these neighbors have been like, we're maybe finally considering putting up this girl for adoption. Are you guys interested? We started to talk about it. We were like, yeah, I think maybe we're ready to bring a dog into our life. Cut to, but we're, no hard comment. Sorry, she got into an empty pill box. Don't you eat that. No. It's empty pills. Don't worry. Wednesday night of this week, we're like, oh, hey, Lacey, that was her current name, is like, needs to be walked. Do you want to come by and walk her? Like, yes, absolutely. Sure. Sounds great. Walk her. I walk her for the first time. I'm in love with this dog. Yeah. She is so sweet. She's so nice. She's this beautiful husky. She's like a designer dog. It just, it feels like one of those like, oh, and we find out that the owners like thought she was a husky Pomeranian.
What?
Which is one of those like, these dogs only exist by selective breeding, and
she's not. She doesn't seem bulky like a husky. Like, she seems like sleeker and smaller.
She's like a husky wolf or something.
Yeah.
We're not sure yet, but she's definitely not part Pomeranian.
She got the heterochromia. Like, she looks like a DeviantArt character.
I'm gonna say, yeah, it looks like a Tumblr OC. This dog. Oh my god! If I was a furry, this dog would be my avatar. And she's so sweet.
Yeah.
We go on this long walk with her, just really like, oh, look at how thankful she is for any attention. As we come back, I go to get dinner, and by the time I come back, Heidi's just cackling, and she's like, hey, so, you know how they wanted to see if we maybe wanted to adopt her? They want to see if we want to adopt her tonight because they are leaving the country tonight.
Oh, well.
Okay. I mean, this is sudden. Go over there to their house. And I don't want to judge too much, but this family so clearly did not care about this dog. They have them in a like small concrete backyard that's like 5x5. Nothing for shade. I asked, like, does she have a doghouse? She's like, oh no, she doesn't like doghouses. Does she have a mat to sleep on? No, she doesn't like mats. So they're just having her sleep on concrete for years.
Okay.
And neglected. And they're like, does she have a vet? Like, oh, we can't remember where we took her. Somewhere in Echo Park. Can't find it. Cool. Great. Does she have fleas or heartworm medication or anything? It's like, oh, the doctor never said we needed to do that. So no, she doesn't have fleas. Within 20 minutes of us getting her back home, we find she's riddled with fleas.
Oh,
like, she is this poor girl. She is so sweet. There's so many other details where it's like the owner was leaving the country for family business, but she was still, only the mother was leaving and the father and the kids were staying. And there was just this very common sense, like, well, obviously they're not going to take care of the dog. So do you want her? And it's like, this dog is being neglected. This dog is just, this beautiful baby is being ignored. So on a spurt, we made a gut call Wednesday night. We brought her into our home. She's been so great. But then we were like, oh, fuck. We also promised 2 of our friends that we would babysit their dogs this next 2 weeks.
So it's Doghouse.
So it's Doghouse. Don't eat the paper. We have 4 dogs in this house right now. You're hearing probably multiple of them in the back bark at each other. It's a blessing, Kevin.
Yeah.
It's a curse and a blessing.
Yeah. Well, I think it's very good of you to bring Nyx into your home.
Thank you. Yeah, we're going with Nyx, both as the goddess of night. Maybe if any Dota players know Nyx Assassin. And then the most deep cut, I don't know if any certain Goosebuds listener will know, but they should watch on Film Cow. Charlie the Unicorn had a finale movie that is brilliant. So fucking funny. And it actually gets very deep. But the main character's name is Nyx. And we quote that all the time. So we were like, that's who she's named after. It's a little armadillo character.
And you love the New York Knicks. So it all...
I love the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
Patrick Ewing?
Sure.
Is he a guy?
Yeah. I'm always talking about Patrick Ewing. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I just remember he was one of the ones who got Space Jammed. That's all I know.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So
I'm pretty sure he was a New York Knick.
So they're a basketball. That's what they are.
Yeah, he was a basketball. No, he was a player, and they turned him into a basketball, and he was like, "Stop! I gotta get back to my game." And they're like, "No, we're gonna slam dunk you."
Because Mr. Met is a baseball. So that's what that's how you know. See, Mr. Met being a baseball is good because now you remember what sport the Mets do.
I don't think it's fair that cities have multiple teams. I'll say that. I'll make that big call. Like, I think New York, you get one. You already do, right?
Yeah.
Like, even we're not sports guys. We know the Yankees are the funded team.
Well, the second I complain about New England having to share one football team, everyone's going to jump on my ass and beat me with sticks. So,
but you only have the Patriots. You only have one team.
But all of New England has to share the Patriots. They aren't the Massachusetts Patriots. They're the New England Patriots. That means Maine, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Massachusetts.
Oh, wait. Okay, yeah.
New England is a region, Chad. It's not...
Wow, that's just clicking into place. Like, yeah, I guess there isn't a state called New England.
No, there's not.
I was like, wait, Boston, Massachusetts? Oh my God.
No.
Where do you all get off on making it... Okay, well, what city is it in? The actual stadium?
It's... What?
The New England Patriots Stadium. Like, where are they based out of?
You're asking me?
I just assume you got to be in.
I know about regional facts, Chad. I don't know about where sports happen.
That doesn't seem fair for them to take an entire region. There's not like the Midwest.
You just said it was unfair for a city to have multiple teams. Now, when multiple regions share one team, that's unfair?
No, actually, I think that needs to open it up. There needs to be like a Massachusetts cannon blowers. I don't know.
Well, we have the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah. See,
but that's not. I mean, but. It's not
a Massachusetts football team. It'll be great. I don't know. Actually, I realize this is like such narrow mining oil for us to have sports commentary. We should probably not keep exploring it this way.
You know what we could probably talk at length about is Animorphs.
Oh my God. I'm so glad we're going to talk about Animorphs. Welcome to Goosebuds.
Welcome to Goosebuds.
I'm one of your hosts, Chad Quandt.
I am another one of your hosts, Kevin Cole.
And Paul is actually in California, but not here with me.
Whoa.
He's at a wedding.
Yeah.
Not getting married to me. I'm still bitter about that.
Yeah.
So it's just Kevin and I today.
Yeah, Paul heard the song Danny California by Red Hot Chili Peppers and decided that was enough to get him to go there.
That was finally the one that broke it.
Yeah. He's like, wow, a Red Hot Chili Peppers song about California? What a groundbreaking topic.
Oh, dude. I don't want to put it off. I have had to accept in the last year that, like, oh, maybe the Chili Peppers aren't good people. There's some, and I know people always bragged on them, but they had some sick-ass bass lines.
Yeah.
Flea was so good. And then now I'm like, wait, are these guys all, like, creeps? Is Anthony Kiedis dating, like, a 19-year-old as a 50-year-old man? Fuck.
Yeah, Anthony Kiedis was always a little weird.
Dude, the weirdest part, he admits to all of these things in his biography. I started reading a little bit of it. He's just like admitting to crimes, like sex crimes in it. Anyway.
But Flea is the voice of Donnie in The Wild Thornberrys.
Yes. That's a much more palpable transition topic. Thank you, Kevin. Also, weirdly enough, in both Back to the Future and Big Lebowski.
Oh yeah, isn't he one of the nihilists in Big Lebowski?
Yeah, we are nihilists, believe in nothing, and then he's Needles. He's the guy that gets Marty fired in the future, I think, in Back to the Future too.
I don't know what that is, but I've seen the Big Lebowski.
How I recall it is, you should see Back to the Future too, Kevin, because at some point they kind of predict like video conference calling, which is not like the genius call.
That's right up my alley.
But like Flea plays like the former bully, now his coworker, and he gets old future Marty to like fall for some sort of like fax scam that gets him fired by his boss, and you're like, Flea, what are you doing? Get back there. Get back to California.
Danny, California.
Actually, Hill Valley's probably in California, isn't it?
I mean, it's in the Valley.
Yeah, that's probably a California state. Never thought about it.
Yeah.
All the locations are in California. Anyway, we are talking about better sci-fi than even that.
Wow.
We're talking about I'm throwing it out there. We are putting a pause temporarily on R.L. Stine's great works.
Yeah.
And
forever.
And we are checking forever. It's an indefinite pause.
Dude, I'm ready. I'm ready to shut it all down and start the Animorphs podcast.
Yeah. To this, I love Animorphs. We've covered it before. Go check out our previous episodes. I know we've read at least number 1. We did that really crazy Choose Your Own Adventure with Animorphs, where a gun was displayed.
Yeah.
And fired. This is, I think, kind of considered by a lot of the fans one of the worst of the Animorphs books.
What are they talking about?
I think I understand. Rereading this is like, this isn't nearly as bad as I remember. This is actually pretty solid.
This shit rules, dude.
I loved it. We read The Suspicion. Is that what this one's called?
Yeah, the title makes no sense.
No, yeah, sometimes they do, where it's like, oh, it's the stranger, and you're like, oh, there's a new person showing up. I get it. That's why they're the stranger. I don't get what suspicion is on this one.
No, there's nothing really no one really suspects anything. Like, if they suspected things more, they might run into less problems in this book.
I guess there's like a beat of, why are these tiny aliens buzzing around my water pump? I suspect they know where the Animorph cube is. Maybe that's the suspicion.
The Sussy is an interesting name for this one.
It's super sus, as the kids say.
But this introduced the Helmacrons? This is the entry point for Helmacrons?
This is the entry point to the Helmacrons. We are deep in Animorphs. This is number 26,
I
think? So that first, I'm kind of curious, Kevin, how you felt about it before the Helmacrons show up, which is, maybe it's a little context. I think probably the second major, someone's going to roast me for saying second major alien antagonist. It really is like the whole book series is Yeerks, right?
Yeah.
And like, there's other offspring and shoots, and there's like the Elemist, who's like a space wizard. Man, we should have read that one. You would have loved the space wizard.
And there are like Andalites and the Hork-Bajir.
Yeah, but they're all caught up in that grand war of the Yeerks. Like, they're either fighting the Yeerks or have been taken over by the Yeerks. And those are all really interesting. Like, I love that they're not really, there's very little Hork-Bajir in this one. Hork-Bajir are so sick. They were like tree-dwelling, peaceful animals that happened to have, not animals, they're aliens, that had bladed arms because they ate tree bark.
Yeah,
so they would cut. Yeah,
they're kind of like peaceful Zergs, I guess.
Yeah, they're like peaceful Zergs or like super like predator sloths.
Yeah,
and the Yeerks were like, cool. Those blades for cutting bark? What are those cut heads instead? And basically took over the Hork-Bajir and used them as like shock troopers. And that's an example of the very cool, like, we're going to take a scientist anthropology idea, and what if it was inducted into war?
I do love the scientist anthropology physics. Like, I like the like little like teachable moments that are scattered through this. Like,
this book has so many.
Yeah. This is all about the square cube law, even though they never really say it by name.
Is that the term for it?
Yeah. Something that's like twice as big is actually like power of 2 as heavy. Like, that's the square cube law. Okay, so the square cube law can be stated as follows, according to Wikipedia. When an object undergoes a proportional increase in size, its new surface area is proportional to the square of the multiplier, and its new volume is proportional to the cube of the multiplier. So something twice as big has 4 times the surface area and 8 times the volume. So Yeah, big thing get big. I don't know.
Okay, but it's not the same one as they quoted at one point. This is about shrinking episode, y'all.
Yeah.
When they shrink, Marco's like, "Oh, it's like when ants are proportionally 20 times their strength." I thought that had been disproven now as a factoid, but I don't know.
Yeah, according to a cursory Google, ants can lift 20 times their own body weight. I don't know if I can succinctly explain why, but look it up. It's cool. Ants are wild. Okay, bye.
I honestly, I'm pretty good at bullshitting about science, and not even I can really think of a way to explain.
That's your DM skills.
Yeah. I do like this sort of like catch up chapter. After reading the same summary of shit that happens at the end of or at the beginning of every Horrorland segment in Goosebuds.
And those also, to be fair, those barely recap. They're just like, you know what it is. I touched it. I got a ticket. I showed up. Anyway.
This recaps on themes and ideas and stuff. And it's from a character's perspective. And that's one of the selling points of Animorphs, right? Is because they trade perspectives every couple of books.
I think as a kid, I kind of thought Cassie was less interesting than the other ones because she's not the straight character, but she's the good-hearted and she's kind of the heart of the team, I guess, if anyone is. So, but I found her very enjoyable perspective to go through. I like little moments of when she talks about having a crush on Jake, the leader of their group and everything. But getting ahead of ourselves, curious how you feel about that one chapter catch up because they're dropping a bunch of lore on you.
Honestly, I remember from the Hitler Animorphs book a lot of the details.
We did read that one, right?
Yeah, we read that one together.
Can we clarify for listeners? The Hitler Animorphs book is they go back in time and talk about whether or not they should kill Hitler.
Yeah, they don't morph into Hitler.
I think actually, according to law, I think at some point they do morph into other humans. I think they're like, we could do.
I was wondering if that was a thing because
there's at least the other way, right? Like Axe the Andalite has a human form.
Yeah,
Tobias, who's actually trapped in Falcon, eventually gets the way to kind of go back where now his default form is Falcon, but he can become a human for 2 hours. So it's you can go to human, but I don't know if you can in your mind go, all right, I brushed across Al Pacino at a diner one time. Al Pacino, and make him.
We really glaze over a lot of Tobias's angst in this, which I kind of appreciate because it's explored in depth elsewhere, but the part about this recap that stuck out the most to me was why the Yeerks want humans, and reason
I love it.
Reason number one is fingers.
Yeah, dude, I loved that. I always thought that was so cool that there was a reason for Earth.
Yeah, fingers, the fact that we're omnivores, and numbers. So the omnivore thing, the Hork-Bajir need just one kind of tree bark. And that's why I
think they have a ship they have to grow. There's a dome ship, I think, that grows trees for them.
Yeah. And they don't have a whole lot of them, and they're a pain in the ass to feed, even with Yeerk technology, I guess. So that's interesting that humans will eat garbage, will make a lot of other humans.
Yeah.
And
there's a bunch of us. Yeah. And we also, we're not naturally strong versus other species. We are. Yeah. We're actually I kind of think it's a terrifying idea for an alien race to look at us and go, well, these are the perfect slaves.
Yeah.
This is let's go and chomp them all up.
Yeerks see us and go, oh, submissive and breedable.
Yeah. Oh god, I haven't even. It's too dark to get into, but they never even kind of broach too much the idea of we're gonna make you Yeerks who are in two humans' heads have sex, because that would be beyond.
I bet AO3 has a whole segment for that.
Yeah, because also when you have a Yeerk in your brain, you as a human are aware of it.
Yeah,
you can't. You're get out. You know it, but you can't move.
That's horrifying. That is,
dude. The whole idea of these things are scary. The fact that they squeeze into your brain and oh yeah.
So something in Dwarf Fortress, and I bet you're wondering where I'm going with this, but in Dwarf Fortress,
are there Yeerks in Dwarf Fortress?
You kind of are a Yeerk in Dwarf Fortress Adventure Mode. Yeah. So the idea of Adventure Mode, I don't know if they still have this, but you would basically the idea is you're part of the god of blood, and you
What?
like the full title
you were a dwarf.
The full title of Dwarf Fortress is like dwarf like the something Blood Saga Slaves to Armok chapters whatever Dwarf Fortress.
Are you yanking my beard right now, Kevin?
I'm not. This is all real. Dwarf Fortress is part of a saga of smaller games. It just became the biggest.
Weird.
But when you become an adventurer, you are possessing them, and they put in stuff like your character can't stop crying, and like you don't have to, like, the character that you're playing is still in there. You're just controlling them.
That's so F. I have no
really
idea.
Fucked up. It kind of makes. I don't like games that are like fuck you for playing this. And also adventure mode in Dwarf Fortress is just bad. But it reminds me of that, because I remember like reading that. I'm like, oh, that's a violation. I feel I don't want to even do that to a digital character.
Dude, this whole book series is filled with war crimes. I think that's why K. Applegate is so good at it. It was very intentional. Like, let's quickly indoctrinate children into realizing that this is a fun, wouldn't it be cool if you're a dolphin? No, the horrors of war, children. The horrors of war.
And I think that the Helmacrons are awesome as I really do. I think they're awesome.
Glad.
I think they're awesome as like you have to show how ridiculous and stupid fascists are.
Yeah, they really are. Because at first, if you asked me, I would have been like, well, yeah, the Yeerks are fascists, but which I guess they are too, but they're just more of a straight like empire, right? Like, we'll kill and take whatever we want. I don't know if they ever get into like their system of government for the Yeerks.
Yeah, well, killing and taking whatever you want is part of fascism.
Yeah, I guess they're all fascists, but like there is something about the Helmacrons that are like up to an 11 version where they make the Yeerks seem normal.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So Helmacrons are tiny. Like, they're super duper tiny. They're like, like half an inch tall or something like that?
I kept, honestly, the way, I think this book was pretty good about it. The scale kept getting smaller where I was like, oh, they're that small? I thought it was like, oh, they're like a little borrower. Yeah. A little like Rescuers Down Under or something. Oh no, they're like
they're tiny,
like cute, tiny.
Yeah, they're like less than a grain of rice or something like that. Like, they're very, very small. But like, I think this could have made a better short story, because like maybe like a third of this book is just describing things as impossibly large or impossibly small, and it's kind of like, a mountain-sized finger moved past me that was the size of a bus that was bigger than a mountain. And I'm like, I'm not like perceiving it, guys. I'm sorry.
They got a little, to their credit, I think she made it as compelling as you can to be like, this is the Ant-Man in the Quantum book of Animorphs. Yeah,
maybe I'm still shell-shocked from Quantum Mania.
We all are. Isn't it so funny, by the way, that movie doesn't matter? Like, I mean, like, genuinely in the MCU now. Yeah. It's like, Kang's not a threat now because of real-world stuff, so it's like, yeah, there was just this offshoot adventure where Ant-Man went into a little quantum realm and fought a guy who was going to be a conqueror, and he got killed by ants. We burnt our
Cheaty use.
Oh my god, that's right, Cheaty was in it!
Yeah.
Oh, what a waste of girl from Love Lies Bleeding was in it.
Yep. Lots of great side characters. No time for any of them.
No, not at all. There was like that one guy that like poured juice down your throat to make you be able to talk their language. And explore that guy more. Anyway, you know what we needed? We needed 10 minutes of Bill Murray showing up and doing nothing.
Yeah, he sure is walking around a dome.
He sure is in a restaurant and betraying them. Oh no, we just met him. I feel nothing about this betrayal. Sorry, we're just ragging on Quantum Mania.
Yeah. But
we should go ahead.
It's a summertime story.
There's no school
over here in Animorphs the Sussy. Cassie, Rachel wants Cassie to go to the beach with her, and they do. But
go ahead.
But she's gotta put some stuff in boxes and bring them to Goodwill. She's working on the farm and they're cleaning out stuff, and she finds a mysterious perhaps Star Trek or Star Wars Romulan ship.
Yeah, I love that when they took it to the donation place, the guy was like, is it Romulan Federation, Klingon? They kept referring to like the Death's Head of it. I was like, okay, so this is someone is very much a Star Trek fan. At some point later on, I don't know if you caught this, Kevin.
Yeah.
Cassie, without ever hearing the term before, refers to the ship's nacelles.
Yep.
Which I only know in Star Trek.
Yeah,
like, the name for the engine.
I don't know, like, if that's a thing or not, but it's it's a word I associate with Star Trek as well.
But yeah, that means Cassie, even though that was the author accidentally showing their Star Trek ass for a second of like, well, yeah, we all know they're called nacelles.
They briefly mention David, who...
Yeah, I was curious if you're going to pick up on that. David's fantastic.
Yeah, so David is a Tobias-like story. He morphed into a rat, and now he's just a rat. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm half recalling it. David's fun. It's I forget the comment, how it actually came across it, but at some point, I like that Kay Applegate is like, well, let's just not keep this as the same kids, right? It's almost insane for them to always only ever talk to each other about this world-ending threat. And at some point, they brought in a new member, a Poochie the dog, to their group named David. And he got the Andalite morphing technology power.
Yep.
And it was very much like, yeah, cool. Why don't we also, maybe we just start franchising this? Like, I had all those ideas. And it turns out, I can't remember exactly what it did, but David was a real evil creep. It's like, oh, maybe some of the humans are pieces of shit. I can't remember what he was doing. Maybe he was just turning into a cat and scratching people. Whatever it was, David was real bad.
Yeah, they don't seem to mourn the loss of David. They say David was a rat.
Yeah, David tried to like kill them and became like a nemesis. And then somehow through some clever thoughts, they convinced him, I think, to like turn into a rat to chase one of them through a pipe. And then led him into a trap where like if he morphed in it, he would have died. So he stayed as a rat, and they made him stay in it for 2 hours.
Jesus Christ.
I know, right? Like, they're like, well, we're not going to kill you, but you deserve something. We can't let you, like, go tell the Yeerks about us, because that'll ruin everything. I don't know how much it's clear in this one, but it's, like, very important that the Yeerks who are on Earth don't know the Animorphs are actually Earthlings.
Yeah.
I think that's always such a fun idea that they think it's a rogue group of Andalite aliens who just maybe have human morphs. Like, that's such a cool motivation for, like, why the Yeerks aren't just like en masse enslaving the schools or like targeting them more. It's a fun detail.
And Visser 3, who's like the main bad guy, right?
Yeah, Visser 3 and is like in charge of the Earth acquisition. If you couldn't tell from the context, there's Visser 2 and Visser 1 are higher ranking than Visser 3. But Visser 3 is like the main antagonist, the one leading the Earth invasion.
Right. And Visser 3 also has the morph technology inside of him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the God, I wish I should have prepped my lore on this. I'm sorry, Animorph fans, if I'm getting any of this wrong. But Visser 3 is distinct because it was a Andalite that got possessed by a Yeerk.
Oh,
so that's why he has the morphing technology.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I will say that this book kind of makes everything pretty easy to like catch up on, even though it seems like a jokey like side thing. Like I know the basics of Animorph stuff, but I never felt like totally lost. Visser 3 is kind of just like a mustache twirling Team Rocket-esque character. Like,
yeah, I think they play him as, even in this one, he's kind of silly in this one.
He's a little silly.
In general,
yeah.
Usually in the books, it's like if Visser 3 shows up, you're actually all kind of fucked because he's, and the cool detail is because he's part of this invasion committee, he is like gone from planet to planet and just sort of collected morphs. He's like, give me the craziest predator on this planet. I want that one. So every encounter with Visser 3 is like a new cool alien to fight.
Yeah, he's got like a weird tentacle-faced, scythe-armed thing.
Medusa with the snakes were holding scythes?
Yeah. Just like, all right, Applegate. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, and then meanwhile, this is like the most epic monster to fight, but they're the size of a grain of rice. Fighting on a normal size axe's leg.
So Cassie donates the tiny spaceship that she finds, and then a second tiny spaceship shows up.
She thinks it's a toy this whole time still, until the second one shows up.
Until the second one shows up, starts flying, and starts shooting Draken beams.
Yeah, which I think means they took them from the Yeerks, because Yeerks have Draken beams, and I loved later on they detail. Sorry, I just love this book series, Kevin.
That's fine.
I love when they get into the difference between Andalite lasers, which are called shredders, that are like a humane instant kill.
Oh, so peaceful. Oh, we humanely kill our...
I mean, if they gotta do it, they gotta do it. Like, it's like the elves of this world.
Yeah.
Right? I think the Andalites are like, if we have to kill, we'll do it gracefully and as quick as possible, and we have scorpion tails on our backs. So sick, so sick.
But they do make a point to make fun of Axe's delicate but useless Andalite fingers.
He does. He has little T-Rex arms.
Yeah.
But also compared to the Yeerks, their lasers are designed to eradicate more slower, so that you feel your cells ripping apart. Great, just evil aliens.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You're still dead in a second.
You're still dead.
But I just like the scientists going like, no, but like make them alive for like half a second so they know it's happening.
I think it's good commentary, because the Andalites aren't supposed to be pure good either, right? They're just kind of more like on our side, and like they clearly have a hierarchical system, and they're kind of racist against humans a little bit.
I think so. I mean, a little bit. The way it's the biggest sin of the Andalites is more that they fucked up and made the Yeerks powerful. I don't know if that's covered in any of the books we've read. That they,
I didn't know
Yeerks,
that.
the Andalites, like, welcome to Animorphs Lore Corner.
Yeah.
It was like the backstory of this world, I think, is so cool without getting too bogged down in it.
God, can I just say I want this? Like, I
know.
I want to be able to talk about like themes and ideas and like things like they matter, like they're like the author was going for something.
Wouldn't it be cool if like the building of the Slappy doll was like tied into like a crazy wood carver?
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. The Yeerks were just like a slug race that needed this like special sun bath to survive, and the Andalites were doing their like peace tour across the galaxy, and they had their unique Animorph technology that they never shared with anyone, but they felt really bad for the Yeerks. And they gave the Yeerks the ability to possess people's brains.
Whoa.
But they thought they would be like, oh, yeah, we figure you'll, like, take over some bugs, or, like, which is still unethical, but, like, on this planet, you guys could take new hosts and have something better of a life than just being slugs. So because you seem intelligent.
They're playing God.
Yeah, it is like America giving weapons to a foreign power that starts a war, I guess, is the meta.
Or America giving possession technology to slugs.
Yes, we might do that at some point. We're like, you know what? Our allies, who are the slugs, we're going to give them possession technology. We trust they're not going to do anything bad with it. Oh, no.
The Andalites are like, hey, slugs, are you capitalist? And they're like, sure.
But yeah, they use that to essentially become this like dominating race. I don't know when they got spaceships. Maybe they already had spaceships. I forget. But it got out of hand real fast. So essentially the entire mess is on the Andalites. The entire war is kind of their fault. Not their fault, but you know what I mean.
No, it's their fault.
They were part of it. The Yeerks have some to blame for deciding to conquer the world, but the galaxy. But yeah. So the Helmacrons,
Helmacrons. All right, so
are just nothing, and I think that's why. I think that's why fans don't like this book, is because it's like, if you've been reading this, you're on book 26 of an epic sci-fi adventure. Hitler's already been killed in time travel at this point.
Yeah.
we've already killed another human boy, or turned him into a rat. Things are happening. And I think the Helmacrons represented a detour in a series that doesn't normally have detours.
Maybe I'll like see this in a different light if we ever do go through all the Animorphs books, and I will see this as a speed bump. But yeah, I think Helmacrons are a good refocus on fascism bad. Like, you can't...
Yeah.
One of Tolkien's things, right, is that you can't show evil as an alternative to good. It's not a choice between Pepsi and Coke. It's...
What about RC Cola, man?
Yeah, it's evil is always a bad idea, and it never works out well. It's always inefficient and terrible and bad. Like, it's just not the winning thing. You're not being edgy by choosing villainy, you're being stupid. And I think conflating evilness and stupidness is really important to do, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, they're so successful because they ditched all their morals and they act evil. And it's like, no, we shouldn't say that. Like, we shouldn't be like, being evil gives you the edge, but you should purposely kneecap yourself because it's the right thing to do. We should be like, being good is actually the right thing to do because it works better. And it's the right thing.
And also make fun of evil people more often. I think we don't do that enough here.
Yeah, portray them as silly, and the fucking Helmacrons are silly as shit, and I love them. They're stupid, and they deserve to die, and they can't be killed.
I didn't really feel bad for any of their deaths, interesting enough. That's how fucked up they were. Usually I'd be like, oh, well, maybe there's someone on the ship who don't want to, like, even sometimes wonder, like, are all the Yeerks on board this? Is there like a Yeerk that kind of is just along for the ride because he needs food?
Yeah,
the Helmacrons suck.
Yeah, no, all of them are the worst, and it's kind of great. It's good just to have like a punching bag, and I think that's fine.
I loved their little like it's almost like captain's log, stardate.
Yes,
little missives.
Such a good device.
Kind of punctuating moments where like we're mostly seeing this from Cassie's perspective, and every once in a while we're just getting a burst of like. Helmacron log, the Galaxy Blaster has crashed, but we will persevere, death to all humans.
Yeah, it's very Invader Zim as well.
Very Invader Zim, very Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
I would love the Helmacrons just keep going, what? What?
I think the best part is that the Galaxy Blaster, the ship, and the Planet Crusher, the other ship, both hate each other. Both are just slagging each other off in the comments, just like talking about how pathetic the other ship is and how glorious they are. And they're just like jockeying to gain the approval of what we find out is a dead captain.
Yeah, that's so crazy. So they kill the captain, but they never make a new, like they make a new captain, but it's a threat. We might make you captain because if you're captain and you make any mistakes, you must die.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. It's like, there's no...
A dead captain doesn't make any mistakes because they don't make any decisions. Like, it's like a really wholesome lesson about, hey man, you're gonna mess up. You're only human. And, as long as you're alive, you're gonna make mistakes. Like, you should have a little bit of grace and humility about this. But grace and humility are not part of Helmacronian culture.
No, they're not at all.
But death very much is part of their culture.
Also, I love as a turn, you learn that the females are the dominating ones. I mean, maybe this is a little just like 90s men are from Mars, women from Venus.
Yeah.
Writing for it, but I thought it was very fun that they're the dominant ones and the males are like subservient.
I think it's a very progressive message, actually, that they have this
women can be fascists.
Well, I hear the next bombs will be dropped by a woman. Like. I think it's obviously I'm coming from a male perspective on this.
Likewise.
But I think this idea of showing sexism as inherent to fascism and sexism being just a completely arbitrary sort of thing, like the Helmacrons have decided that men are subservient and women are the chads. And it's like it's all just politicking. It's all just basic arbitrary shit, and I think that's actually shown rather well. And it's not like terribly in your face, and it's funny. So I like it. I don't know.
No, I did too. I not to jump to the end too much, but I love when Marco and Cassie, who are our two shrunken Animorphs on this adventure, basically like red pill the male Helmacrons, and you're like, there's no moment of like, maybe we could have equality in the Helmacrons. The males are being like, you're right, death to all the females, incel life, like, let's go. You're like, oh, okay.
And they're like, they're just like, fine, whatever. And like, it's great because they're teenagers, but it's also an incredibly Dungeons and Dragons party vibe. Like,
the Animorphs?
Yeah, like the Animorphs crew are like teenagers, and like if they destroy a culture, who gives a shit? But that's
yeah.
It's a very D&D party vibe thing where they're like, yeah, let's try and do good. Oh, that went very wrong.
It also never takes me out too much. I think I remember it's covered, especially in like Marco's kind of the wisecrack, the quip machine.
God, I am sick of Marco.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get sick of Marco. That's a character type that I think can definitely overstay his welcome. At some point, they definitely dive into the fact that the reason Marco is a quip machine is because horrors of war. He needs some way to drop it out. So he's not just a like, I don't care about any of this. It is, I'm using some means to let out my feelings and fear.
I just want to reach into the book and be like, brevity is the soul of wit, my guy. Like...
He has a couple too wordy ones. He
kind of quips too. Like, the quipping I can take, I've got a little bit of quip tolerance. I just think a lot of the time he just goes on a little too long.
Yeah, or like it takes a little bit of a walk to get to that punchline there.
Yeah, he'll do like a comedic rant about how ridiculous the situation is, and I'm like, okay, well, I get how ridiculous the situation is, and you're trying to give me a human like element to it, but it feels like you've shown, and then you're like, you know what, I might as well tell as well.
Yeah, I mean, counterpoint, not even counterpoint. Yeah. I think it's kind of a testament to how far they're in this story that. So when the Helmacrons show up, right, and it is a kind of just stumbling into this discovery of, oh no, the toys we were trying to donate are actually real ships, and there's tiny little people in there. The writer of Meet Dave will go nuts when they realize this is their idea. Is they kind of just like shrug at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's not a like, oh my God, another alien race on Earth. What does it mean? There's like one level of Marco, I think I kind of appreciated going like, this doesn't make sense. They would need faster than light travel, but they're so small. Like,
yeah,
sure, there's a little bit of that, but it's mostly like, oh my God, another one. Okay, all right, let's deal. Like, I loved the comedic. So for most of this first like act of the book, the Helmacrons are kind of a joke. Like, yeah. They're just buzzing and shooting their beams that because they're smaller are mostly just stinging them. I mean, maybe they're giving them like, skin cancer or something.
Yeah, they'll put your eye
mostly
out.
Like, yeah, they realize they're shooting for Tobias's eyes. I loved the scale stakes of like, they hadn't been that hard to deal with. They're mostly just annoying. But then at some point they're fighting Tobias in Falcon form and realize, oh no, they can actually hurt Tobias. Like,
yeah,
they're aiming for his eyes and he's small enough for them to hurt.
Something about the body horror of morphing that's gone into great detail here, and I'm sure it's gone into great deal. Like, we get every kid's take on the body horror of morphing. But something about it kind of undercuts like the getting shot in the eyes thing, because you can morph to heal too, right?
Yeah, I mean, this book series is very, like, the most prolific memories I have is, like, usually in the middle of a battle, Marco as a gorilla has his guts, like, shot out.
Yeah.
And he is hiding behind cover, holding his organs in. Or, like, Rachel's a bear and she's getting shredded. And it's like, you gotta find cover to morph. It's like, get behind, it's like video game mechanics.
Yeah, it's a cover shooter.
But it uses it to get into, like, man, these kids are still getting fucked up real bad. Like,
it's not
you're
good.
Still blowing out a kid's eye.
War is heck, man.
War is heck, indeed. The Animorphs, all while juggling, hiding from their parents, and all these big things they want to deal with. Realize that the Helmacrons are actually a little bit more of a threat because they weren't just in the barn for no reason. They had detected the energy signal of the Animorphs cube that Cassie had hidden in the barn. Quick question for you, Kevin. It's not super important. When they first find the ship on top of the water pump, it seems like the ship is broken.
It's like magnetized to the pump.
Okay, so it was working.
Yeah.
Those first comments was like, did the Helmacrons like crash their ship before the Animorphs even showed up? I think it was just a misunderstanding.
I think like before they could warm up their Draken beams, Cassie was just like, "What's this shit?" and threw it in a box.
And just grabbed it and threw it in a box. Yeah, okay, that's what it is.
And then the second ship shows up and starts blasting, and they're like, "Ah, shit, we got to go find the first ship because it heard us talking about where the cube is located." Or the box or whatever. What cube box?
Yeah, there's a downside that it seems, I forget how the details of it, like thought speech, I think is more private channel stuff, but it seems like they were kind of they were open comms a lot of this book.
I always love the telekinetic group chat. We do that in Space Games a lot.
It's fun. Just let it happen. It's more fun when the characters can talk to each other.
It's more fun when the characters can talk to each other.
I genuine. It's true. I feel like I've read so many other stories where it's like, well, and then they're in another hallway and their cell phones don't work. It's like, let them talk. Let the characters talk to each other. It's fun.
Yeah. So you realize we understand these characters through dialogue, right? Like you realize that's.
So the Helmacrons kind of did like a double fake back where, oh no, they are now that we were over at Goodwill, they are zipping back to the house.
Yeah.
They're gonna get the Andalite Cube. And we didn't realize it, but they can use the Andalite Cube's power to... I guess they always had Shrink Ray. It was never... I don't need to know this for sure if they always had the technology.
We don't really know what they're doing with the box yet. But when they get back, Cassie and Marco get shrink blasted by one of I think it's the Galaxy Blaster, steals the box, goes in the barn, hits them with the shrink beam, and they become very, very small.
And Tobias as well. Who's now
Tobias,
just like a tiny little bird.
Yeah,
tiny little bird.
Well, so apparently, like, they try and get into, like, the shrink ray rules, and they were all blasted to the same height. So while Tobias is a bird, he is a bird the size of the height of the rest of the kids.
Oh, is that what was going on?
Yeah.
Because they also got into those ant strength rules where at one point, like, oh no, we're getting covered by dirt. Wait a minute, I can lift all of this dirt. I'm super strong. I was really waiting for Cassie and Marco to have at some point to go like, oh, so we could just like go Hulk smash on all these Helmacrons because we have proportional strength.
I was waiting for them to run on all fours, like.
What, like the guy from Split, like that kind of thing,
or like the werewolves from WoW or something, like just cause that would be the most efficient way to move if they have 10 times strength.
I never thought about that, Kevin.
Yeah, 4 on the floor, baby.
This guy werewolves.
But yeah.
So now they're an actual threat. Now that half the Animorphs have been shrunk, and there's some kind of fun comedy of like them trying to tell the other Animorphs, don't come in the barn, they have a shrink ray, they're a threat now, and like the thought speech message is not making it, and one by one them coming in and getting shrunk.
They're just the Helmacrons are just spawn camping and just keep shrinking them down. And then
but it's also
and then like the other Animorphs mount a rescue mission, and like Axe turns into a wolf spider, and Jake turns into a cockroach. And they just fuck it up so bad because the Helmacrons are like, perfect, awesome, and open fire on them.
They're playing with scale a little bit, right? Where it's like the Helmacrons out of ship versus Cassie and Marco very much are aided by giant cockroach, which is terrifying. And a wolf. I know it's just a wolf spider. I think the way Cassie described that Axe showing up as a wolf spider must have looked like a kaiju to them.
Yeah,
you're seeing all of its like details. I don't want to be hyperbolic. I think that's scarier than the last few Goosebumps books we've read.
Yeah, 100%. But then we get the best catchphrase we could ever ask for from the Helmacrons, which is neep, neep, neep.
I wonder what that translates to in their language.
Their war cry is Muppet noises.
If they had just been the Menomina Meep 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 aliens the entire time.
I can only see them as that after I saw Neep Neep Neep.
I was picturing them as I think there's like one small drawing of them, but like I think I was picturing them as, in Futurama, the green alien that's their news anchor, like Clorbo. I was picturing them as like tiny Clorbos.
Yeah, I definitely pictured them as like little like bacteria gross dudes. They have like a flat top head that's like a reverse pyramid shape that like ends in like a little like mouth part thing, and they got 2 like glassy marble eyes on top of the inverted pyramid, but like they're just Muppets.
they're Muppets who also I thought this also was good. Like Cassie and Marco now basically are watching their friends get fucked up by tiny aliens.
Yeah,
I love the sliding scale of these things were a threat. Now they actually have us, but also at the same time, Rachel has the equivalent of a nuclear weapon that is just a brick she's going to throw at them if they don't surrender.
So good. The transitioning from like horror to comedy to like the horrors of war to body horror. Like, I think there is legitimately more horror in this one joke episode, joke book of Animorphs than I've seen in a couple of Horrorlands. All right. So, the Marco and Cassie surrender to the Helmacronians. Helmacronian?
Helmacrons, I believe.
Helmacrons. I just think of like the Omicronians from Futurama.
Yeah, now it's just all going to that.
Yeah, so they surrender, they're taken on board the ship. They find out it's easier to crawl when they're told to grovel, and then I'm like, they're gonna run on all fours, but they don't.
Oh, I also love that part where it was like, oh, grovel in whatever way is best to you, and Marco's like, I'm gonna lay back, like pretend like I'm suntanning. Like, Marco, what is that joke even for? Is that just for you?
You may grovel in the style of your people.
I wanted Cassie to be like, oh yes, the way I grovel is put your neck in my hands and let me twist them. That's how I grovel.
It's again, it's making fun of fascists. It's turning what a fascist needs to be a terrifying experience into a joke. The you may grovel in the style of your people is just the funniest shit in the entire world.
They more want the fear and respect than any common sense for their mission.
Yeah. But this is where we find out that their captain is dead and they have to grovel before the dead captain, and it's like it's such a good imagery, like kind of Dark Souls-y, like just like,
oh my god, yeah, just on a throne, Malekith's throne or something.
Yeah, they talk about like the mold and like the spider webs and shit, like, and how there are like 3 swords stabbed into them.
Yeah. Also the threat. I think at one point is like, Marco, you watch out, they're gonna make you captain, and then which make you wonder, like, could Marco do that for like 5 minutes, make enough commands before they kill him? No, they'll probably just kill him. And
then they meet Wuss.
Like, not his birth name.
No, they're shuttled off to. He doesn't get a birth name. They're shuttled off to the male Helmacrons, which are pretty much the same, except they have no self-confidence. And they're just like accepting of being a slave caste of society. And this is just kind of a lore dumpy kind of moment where they goof on this one like slave character assigned to them.
Marco really has no sympathy for him as much as just like, come on, man, Sigma mindset. Like,
again, like the lack of empathy, like the empathy disconnect is both very teenager and it's very D&D player.
Yeah. But also, you know what? Like, fuck these guys. They were going to go to the beach, and these Helmacrons have really messed everything up.
Marco makes a pass at Cassie, being like, let's repopulate the Tinyverse. And
you know what? Somehow, even though it's still creepy to do, I felt like Marco was still being very... Do I want to defend Marco here? I don't know. I didn't feel like Marco genuinely thought he had a shot. I think Marco was like, I'm just making a joke. But yeah, it's still... It crossed the line. Jake and Cassie are a thing, Marco, and you shouldn't even be doing that anyway, let alone...
Yeah, I just thought it was, weird. But not...
he did... Yeah, but he did go back to it multiple times to that point of like, Marco, maybe you actually were hoping that was going to happen.
Yeah, no, he like doubles back and he makes the joke again at the end. And I'm like, oh man, you didn't have to double dip. Like
the first time, I'm always on board the joke of, oh god, this is bad. We'll have to live underground and rebuild society, whatever. That's just like a fun kind of nonsense joke to make. But as soon as Marco kept going back to like, but yes, we could repopulate the Earth, Marco. You wanted that to happen. You were hoping that would happen.
Marco, calm down.
Marco, yeah.
And then at some point they trick the Helmacrons to going after Visser 3.
I thought this was genuinely... I think Cassie's very smart in this. I even having read this book before, I forgot their ideas. Because the Helmacrons are tracking the energy signature of anyone who has the Animorph technology, which is how they found them. And Cassie gets the great idea going like, well, there actually is one other person with Animorph technology on the planet, and that's Visser 3. And it freaks the Helmacrons out. They are aware of the Yeerks. I like that.
Yep.
It seems like there was didn't even get into what the disagreement was, but as soon as they say the Yeerks, there is a sword fight between 2 groups of the Helmacrons to decide what to do next, and they're just some dead Helmacrons. They don't make a moment of, you're right. It's just like, it just happens, and then moving on. Okay, so tell us about where the Visser is.
They just kill each other, and then they move on. Like
we'll kick this guy's ass. It's fantastic.
That's the only way things are resolved in Helmacron society. They debate on whether to go up or down in the ship, and all the ups kill all the downs. Like it's It's just, that's how they decide anything, is by killing anyone who disagrees with them. There's no debate. There's no like forgiveness for being wrong. There's just death. Like, it's
also, they're so stupid. Also, meanwhile, their ship is just like a little toy, just like lugging a cube around, like in tow. Like, it must have looked insane.
What were you thinking?
I love Cassie going, well, let's really set these idiots up. Go fight the bad guy that we can't defeat.
Yeah.
I think that is, even though, like, yes, you're putting yourself on a collision path, I think that was so smart. I love this whole next sequence where they just immediately can find Visser 3, and they're like, wow, you found the blade ship in space very fast. Oh, he's going down to a limousine. Follow him. And they just start, like, the Helmacron just taking wild pot shots at his car, doing nothing.
Yeah, there's this moment of pure comedy where he rolls down the window of his limo and he mouths Helmacrons? Like, he's so just blown away that any of this is happening. Like, it's so ridiculous. It so runs counter to him as a character. And he's like, all right. And he pulls out a gun. Like, it's just a regular, like, Colt 45.
Yeah.
And he shoots at the ship. And my favorite joke happens next where the Helmacrons say, an unprovoked attack.
But this whole time, they think they're going to win. It's really fascinating how bold they are.
Yeah, I mean, I just, like... I just got through, like, watching Band of Brothers for the first time. And,
right, yeah.
And I think that's, like, a line where, like, the Americans say to, like, a German captive, they're like, you thought you had a shot at this?
I could have bought more even if the Helmacrons hadn't heard of the Yeerks, and Cassie and Marco had to kind of give them, like, a very editorialized breakdown, but they know who the Yeerks are.
Yeah.
And still think, let's go after them. We're going to kick all of their asses. We're the ones that should be... I don't even know what their end game was. They have the Animorphing Cube. You think that would be, like, enough for them.
But they can have no plan because there can be no debate. There can be no discussion. Like,
yeah, it's just conquer and kick ass.
And kill anyone who disagrees with you.
Yeah. So they put up a little bit of a fight. They get in the limousine and are able to Visser 3's surprise, hit him with a shrink ray. Making him tiny too.
Is that does that happen at like a PT or like a controller meeting or something like that, or is that in the limo?
What do you mean?
The Visser 3 meets with the controllers at some point.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe that was. I might have missed that part. I thought it was actually all happening in the limo, but you're right. I think he maybe got out. There's this part of it was just kind of like,
this is a blur.
Meanwhile,
like, this part is a lot of like, and then we got so small, and then we got so big. They turn into flies. And they're flies proportional to their regular size, and they're tiny, and they can see vibrating molecules.
But they're like super fast because they're smaller flies than normals, but they have normal fly strength, it seemed like.
Again, decades before Quantum Mania. And then they land on one of their vice principal's scalp, and they see all the mites crawling around on it. And they learn that the other Animorphs put the Galaxy blaster into their dad's like woodshop vice.
And force them to cooperate. That part's great.
And I'm like, well, that's torture. But you know, it's war, I guess.
Well, I mean, if anything, it's the ship's torture, right?
And they're like, we got the names of their captains out of them, and they're like, guys, their captains are all dead.
I love that. They're like, we left Axe with them. Don't worry. And they're like, no, wait, that means Axe is in trouble.
Yeah.
This is kind of like a silly, fun action sequence of multiple parties. We have the normal-sized Animorphs in pursuit of the Yeerks, who are dealing with now half being shrunk and their leader being shrunk, but all running around on people and... Yeah, go ahead.
But this is like I think the importance of having a jokey fascist like enemy, even if they just seem like a punching bag or an idiot. When you turn your back on them, they're gonna mess you up if you don't pay attention to them, if you don't make fun of them, if you pull your punches. It's like don't let the one quiet Nazi sit at your bar, because in a week you'll have a group of Nazis.
He'll reproduce. Yeah, totally. I also it's not even called out, but like, people are fighting and dying over their vice principal's hair.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, that is the stakes of this battle. And Visser 3, who, again, I know he seems kind of silly in this, like, every other book it has been, when Visser transforms into an animal, like a monster, you are all fucked. Like, you're not going to make it out of here. This is the Elden Ring boss fight music should start playing.
Yeah.
But now he is they're like kind of talking to Cassie, and they're like, yeah, Jake's like, yeah, we're down on the leg, and Visser turned into a big monster. He's really fucking crazy, but like, they're tiny.
Yeah.
Like, Visser might not make it out of this ever again. It's so cool.
They come up with this convoluted. I'm just trying to rush us through the plot points.
Yeah.
They come up with this convoluted plan to get onto the Helmacron ship, wedge themselves in the engine, and turn into a whale.
Yeah.
And this works. It
slows it down enough for a Yeerk to grab hold of them.
Yeah. then Axe has to show up and like grab a handful of everyone and run to the zoo where they can turn into... So Cassie gets this idea that she won't explain to anyone because I think it would be stupid to say it out loud. But
well, yeah, I ruined the reveal, and you're like, "Oh my god!" She dropped him in Anteater dead.
She's like, maybe to reset our size, we need to absorb full-size DNA.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that's. Listen, it doesn't fully make sense, but I even like Visser 3 going as he's watching it happen, going like, "Of course!" Like,
yeah. It's very silly. Like, this is the part where I'm like, okay, like, I feel like the more appropriate thing would be to get into one of the ships and reverse the shrink process. Like, that would... Well, sure. That would be the sci-fi, like, make the most sense answer, but, like...
I think even the version where they didn't have that rule, if it had still been, I am luring these two armies of tiny people into their worst nightmare because I know that we will survive it.
Yeah.
Is still pretty cool, right? If they were all still shrunk and it was just like watching tiny Yeerks and tiny Helmacrons get eaten by natural anteaters, that also would have been sick. But we would have missed out, Kevin, on the body horror of Cassie turning into an anteater and then kind of instinctively or not instinctively just lashing out her tongue and eating a bunch of Helmacrons or starting to feel herself eat them before spitting them back out.
Yeah, like, that's pretty effed. And they have to... They'd be like, Cassie, no, it's a war crime. Like, they have to be like, let's walk back from annihilating the enemy army in one
But is it a war crime? Because I thought it was interesting. Visser 3, who's like, at this point, almost like the closest he's ever been to an ally.
Yeah, he's almost got like a fatherly tone to him. Like,
yeah, I love at one point where he's like, "Hey, Andalites, because I think you're Andalites. Let's all agree these Helmacrons fucking suck. Like, I am very annoyed by them. Do you want to fight them together?"
Yeah, that's cool, man. Like, I love a moment like that. But the Animorphs are like, you can fight them. Bye. Like,
but also he adds, maybe this is just Yeerk mind thought propaganda, but they're like, the Helmacrons aren't even really living people. There's like that rule at the last minute of if you killed one, its thoughts just get transferred into another Helmacron, which
just like a fascist.
Yeah, never mind. I was gonna say, does that kind of undermine the idea of what they're doing by killing each other? It's
not bad to punch Nazis, like is what Applegate's saying. It's like it's not a big deal.
No, yeah, but I mean, not to get overthought about it. Let's say you were on Helmacron Let's Drive Down team.
Yeah.
And you got killed by Let's Drive Up team.
Yeah.
Would your thought process then go into the body of one of the opposing sides where you're like, you know what? I agree. We should have gone up. Or would you always now have that aspect of doubt in your mind of like, we should have gone down? It's not important, but I'm curious about it.
It is kind of a curveball in the final thing, because it kind of removes any responsibility that the Helmacrons have for their choices.
Yeah.
If death isn't real, then like there's no harm like caused by their violence. Like they harm other organisms, I guess, but like I think you're undercutting that idea of, you know, the fascism is harmful to fascists as well. Like it's not a safe or good idea.
Yeah, not to be too critical. You really don't need that detail because they don't. I'm sad they don't eat any Helmacrons. I think at this point I was really down to have Cassie just like munch on all of them. Even Marco's like, hell yeah, Cassie, get them.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a brick joke too to have the anteater transformation on the cover and then like have that end up being have that like really matter.
Yeah, I'm so dumb. I forgot about it. Like I actually was like, oh, that's right. That was on the cover. Cassie turned it into an anteater. Which it's so those covers are so funny because it's like no knowledge of it's a girl turning into a wondrous earth animal, an anteater.
Yeah.
Do you know that this anteater is going to be used for war crimes later? No.
How? Like it, and to see
it's like rainbow color background on the cover, and it's very like cheery.
And to have Visser 3 turn into the angriest, evilest anteater is the funniest shit in the entire world. Like that's so good. Like
I wonder if he ever goes back to that form later and just enjoys it. That'd be his like. If he ever fights the Helmacrons again, he'd be like, I acquired this morph on Earth specifically for Helmacrons and just use them all up.
But it kind of it makes me think that like an anteater kaiju would be terrifying.
Yeah,
like
yeah. No, again, there's like some cool horror to the idea of just this massive depicting like the barbs on the tongue, like spiking the Helmacrons.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Or when Visser is like, I actually really like this back and forth of Visser that immediately nabs tiny Tobias with his anteater tongue, is like, we'll negotiate. And there's not even a beat of that standoff until Axe immediately is like blade on the anteater's throat going, we'll negotiate. Like, Visser has no leverage immediately. I loved that.
Yeah, he's a joke, just like the Helmacrons. Like, the juxtaposition of Visser and the Helmacrons is great. Like,
it does undermine it. I really like this book. It had the moment of this book at the end where I was like, I guess in hindsight, and I get why it does. The story needs to continue. The Animorphs and the Yeerks and the Helmacrons basically use hostage negotiation to demand that everyone is transformed back to normal size, including Visser 3.
Yeah.
And that the Andalites, the Animorphs, get the cube back. There's maybe just page count. I'm surprised there's never a moment where any of the Animorphs were like, we could just kill Visser 3 right now. Like, we could just double cross him, or like we transform him last and step on him or something. But I
think, yeah, it's not perfect. It feels kind of like, punk rock. We need to play now and loud. Like, it's just, it goes. Like, we need to go. We need to hit the deadline. Like, this is a sillier episode, but again, it has funnier jokes and like thoughts than like more jokes and more thoughts than I'm used to in a young adult novel.
Yeah, and I think it sounded like we were kind of ragging on it. I genuinely, even though there's a little bit too much of it, I liked if I'm already tiny and I shrink to a flea, I will see cells at the microbial level. Yeah. And that is like, that's really scary. That's existentially terrifying.
Yeah, it feels very like our shower thoughts or ideas or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I get it, man. Like, scale is wild.
I know the Helmacrons come back at least one other time.
Sick.
I can't tell you a single detail about what that story is without looking it up. But I didn't mind them as a refresher from constant like Yeerk aggression. And even in this one, you still get a battle with the Yeerks.
Yeah,
like, it's still a versus Visser story.
I mean, in fiction, you have to have it helps a lot to have a villain worth fighting, like a force that is proportional or greater than your hero. Like, having a villain that you have to take seriously is in general a good thing, but that comes with the cost of making it seem like a Pepsi Coke choice between good and evil.
Yeah. And I mean, this is not really that, but as I've been watching more and more stuff in my older age, I am appreciative of a series that'll do the Avatar Last Airbender beach episode.
Yeah.
Right? Or like,
humor is humanizing. And it can also be dehumanizing for like the Avatar beach episode that humanizes those kids, those teens so much.
Yeah, Azula and the quote unquote bad Fire Nation kids, like, you see them struggling to connect with other kids, and you're like, I'm still not like rooting for Azula, but I feel for her a little bit.
Yeah, my own mother thought I was a monster. She was right, of course. Like,
yeah, it's so funny.
She's great.
I just watched been watching the anime Jujutsu Kaisen, and after 24 episodes of serious blood and demon fighting and everything, Kevin, they play baseball for an episode.
Hell
and
yeah.
It fucking rocks.
Hell yeah.
Like, it's just like, I totally get it. Take a little bit breather, y'all. I'll be back next episode for all the serious stuff. Eat some more fingers. He eats fingers in it.
Okay.
Yeah, he eats demon's fingers to get more demon in him. That's like the hook of Jujutsu Kaisen.
That's cool.
Anime's cool, man.
I know it's huge. I'm kind of burnt out on shonen lately.
No, I get that. And even that one, so many of the shonen are like, not to make this a Camp Goosebumps discussion, so much of the shonen anime I've been watching is like, y'all are getting bogged down in rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like started watching new season of My Hero Academia, the one that's finally out in America, and like, dude, half that episode is just like doing the D&D equivalent of arguing over how your spell works. And
yeah,
I don't know. Just get into some cool action, man.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people our age who are watching My Hero Academia are really just grieving for the fact that Full Metal Alchemist is over. Like, I'm like, I get that, but you know, you can always just start either of those anime over again.
No, I am hopeful that I think the hit anime of the fall is going to be Dan to Dan.
You are very hopeful about Dan to Dan.
I am annoying about Dan to Dan.
I think
in the manga, they're not too annoying about rules. They kind of go rule of cool a lot, and I enjoy that.
The rules exist to say something, which is also very important. Like, the rules exist in Dan to Dan to explore ideas of like gender and society and stuff like that. So I really like the Dan to Dan that I read. I'm not up to date on the manga, but the trailers you showed me for the anime look sick as hell. So
I finally caught up on all current chapters of Dan to Dan.
Yeah,
and I'm at like chapter 151, and I still love it. Like, maybe it'll run out of steam at some point. Oh my god, it's so good.
I dropped my Crunchyroll subscription for this season because there honestly was no summer anime that I was happy to watch. So I just kind of let Crunchyroll fall off.
I'll share this on a public podcast, Kevin. I'll send you my Crunchyroll login.
Whoa.
I'm going to go see the first 3 episodes. They're doing a special screening of the first few called Dan to Dan: The First Encounter in theaters.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm going to go see it in a couple weeks. I'll let y'all know how it is.
Nice. I'm just gonna watch the anime right now. That's the guy who makes the harem out of all the girls rejected from other like romance anime.
Which is that an isekai?
Yeah, it's just a regular. It's a romance anime, but it's about a dude who just starts amassing female friends who were rejected in their like respective stories.
That's insane. What's it called?
Ah, shit. Whatever. Kevin, put it here.
The anime is called Makeine Too Many Losing Heroines! ! It's got like a 4.9 average on Crunchyroll, and I like the clips, but I haven't actually watched it yet. So go in at your own risk, I guess. Okay, bye.
Blamp.
Future Kevin, find that out.
Yeah. I think that's been a Goosebuds.
It's Goosebuds. Kevin, it sounds like you had a pretty positive experience with Animorphs.
I would absolutely read another Animorphs book again in an instant.
Hell yeah. It's funny. I was worried, like, I think when I sent it to you, I was like, Kevin, do you want me to send you like the worst one? I don't know why I'm trying to like discourage you from reading Animorphs. And this worst one was still pretty fucking good.
Dude, tight as hell. Like, honestly, we had our problems with it, but compared to what we've been going through lately.
Also, like, it just, can I just say, really, the pacing on it read so fast.
It did. It was, a little meatier than a Goosebumps book, but it honestly, it was fun to read. Like, it was kinetic, so.
I'm starting to build a, like, YA religion in my head, and on one side of the pantheon is R.L. Stine, on the other side is K.A. Applegate. And, like, which one is heaven or hell? We'll let you decide, readers. But, like, they're diametrically opposed. And somewhere in there is I don't know, that Warrior Cat book series.
Dude, if we could do a whole like spin-off that's just xenofiction.
Oh, let's do it.
Warrior Cats, Guardians, Watership Down, Redwall.
I would love to do a Redwall if it wasn't so meaty. I mean, maybe it's like a special reward at some point. We hit like a certain number or level where like we'll do a whole Redwall.
Yeah, maybe we just tank the whole podcast and be like, it's Redwall now.
Get ready for Badger lineage. Let's go.
You'll get one podcast every 2 months and you'll like it.
But we get to read Redwall.
Yeah.
No, we'll be back with more Goosebumps, more Choose Your Own Adventures. We got a bunch of cool stuff submitted. If you want to help guide the direction of this show you're listening to, or you want to keep it supported and keep the digital lights on, the best way to do that is go to our Patreon. You go to patreon.com/goosebuds. Not only you get to vote on upcoming books, but you get to join our cool Discord with a really rad community that has grown out of there. You get access to our bonus Camp Goosebuds episodes. We just put up the one for August, which contains a harrowing story of my dad's soup. Not my dad's soup from Goofy Movie. My dad Ronald who made a hell soup in Indiana. I'll tell you that story.
It's traumatized a few listeners, and I think it's definitely worth $1 or whatever we're asking for it.
Yeah, where we talk about like Animorphs, $5. $5. We talk about anime and games and other things that interest us.
Bloomborough.
Bloomborough. Man, I tried to go into my game store, went down to Geeky Tees in Burbank, shout out, and they were all out of Bloomborough. They had none.
Oh, don't support a small business. Just go to Target or get it online.
I also noticed that out of the commander decks, the squirrel one are like sold out and selling for double price. So I don't know if squirrels are hard meta and everyone's just trying to get the squirrel decks.
Squirrels have typal synergies that go like back about 20 years. So there's just more you can do with them.
Okay.
So
all right. I just noticed they were clearly the hot one to get.
Yeah, so. The squirrel deck is just better than the other ones, it looks like. But the other decks are fun. It's just if you're a Magic tryhard, you're probably gonna get the squirrel one.
Yeah, okay. I want to play all of them. But we'll talk about Bloomborough and other stuff. Again, that's on patreon.com/goosebuds. The other thing to do is tell a friend about the show.
Do it.
Goosebumps and YA novels are hotter than ever. It's the 90s all over again.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I'm just making that
up.
No,
it sounded correct though. So maybe you're right.
Data says that kids love YA. I mean, I don't know. There's a new Goosebumps TV show
That's true.
Coming out.
That's true.
RL keeps putting out more movies and books, and we have plenty to cover. But if you have any fans of 90s YA horror commentary that kind of tells you the plot of a book, why don't you send them over to Goosebuds?
Yeah.
We'd love your support.
Why not? Why aren't you?
Kevin, what else should people check out?
You should check out my stuff if you want. You can go to supertrystudios.com or supertry.itch.io and play my video games. You can also go to givekevinmoney.com if you want to support my work. Right now, I'm juggling a lot of different projects, and your support would be really helpful for me reclaiming my sanity and time. So if you want to if you want to help me out there, you can go to givekevinmoney.com. Or give money to Goosebuds. But and you should also check out Continue Show, because Paul works really hard on that, even though he's living his Californication lifestyle right now.
I know, and I haven't hung out with him yet. I'm gonna have to find some way to hang out with him despite having 4 dogs.
He's you're gonna have to use your dogs to smell him out, because I believe last I saw he was trapped inside the O of the Hollywood sign.
Oh my God. He talked about getting in there. He said he wanted to knock down the O and change it to Hollyweed. That's actually already happened to California a couple of years ago. It was pretty great. Someone changed the O to an E.
Hell yeah.
Hollyweed.
It's just paper. It's just fucking paper. Like it's not like, it's like a tarp.
The sign?
Yeah, the sign's just like a tarp up close.
I don't even know if I do that. You can't get that close to it because usually it's cordoned off.
Yeah, no. But Paul, he had his fucking iPod Shuffle in with all the Red Hot Chili Peppers on.
He has the same dream of Californication as he did it. Check out Paul's stuff. Anything I've made recently, if you want to check out, Star Trek Prodigy is now on Netflix.
Yeah.
So if you have a Netflix membership, go watch it. Even if you don't want to watch it, and you got some stuff to do, just put it on the background, because Netflix is like, oh, cool, people love it.
Yeah.
I know that's pathetic to ask, but just watch it in the background even if you don't want to watch it. But it's a pretty good show, and I'm proud of the characters, and it's a cool entry point into the Federation if you like Star Trek.
Rate it 5 stars, or double thumbs up, or whatever Netflix does.
Yeah, they still do the thumbs up. Do the thumbs up, please.
Rate it higher than Mars Needs Moms.
God, I never saw that, but I just the designs freaked me out. It looks better than Mars Needs Moms, I'll tell you that.
For a very long time, Mars Needs Moms was a perfect 2.5 stars out of 5 on Netflix, and so I'd refer to everything as better or worse than Mars Needs Moms.
It's the middle baseline.
Yeah.
I love that. It's the perfect 7 on the pH scale. Mars Needs Moms. Anyway, that's been a Goosebuds. Kevin, thank you so much for sharing Animorphs with me.
Thank you so much for sharing Animorphs with me.
We'll do more for sure. Also, if you want to do more Animorphs, tell us on the Patreon. That's the best way to do it. Go on Patreon and tell us.
Deep, deep, deep.
Deep, deep, deep. Till next time. Bye.
Bye. This episode of Goosebuds was brought to you by our lovely patrons in the Book of Names.
The Book of Names.
We'd like to say thank you to Stefan Jive Turkey Kuwabara,
Low Belly Hate Me,
Hollis Hornbeak,
Michael McDowell,
Hey Josh Robb,
Mickey C,
Nathan Dolezal,
Mike Lanteri,
Buddy Morrill,
Ailcade,
Mel Dipson,
Afsheen,
Dango Twist,
Zedticles sits outside the closed Paranoia shop doors, listening to the morning Ice Church bells and eating a bowl of super strengthos.
Wow.
Hell, he knew where it was going. It was cut off from mine, but he knew. Because it could have been super shit. Stealth, a beautifully fleshed...
S was cut off, to clarify.
Stealth, a beautifully fleshed skeleton Bates.
Robert Moon!
You guys, I worked a super strengthos reference into the show I'm working on.
Oh, hell yeah.
Brian Wells.
Jason Crooker loves that there's going to be a reference to super strength shows.
Clay Castle,
Miguel Pardo.
John Keaty.
Calf,
Bring back Paranoia Shop. Hashtag justice for shoppers.
What the
Why are you
hell?
all redoubling your efforts?
Did we, miss a day on the Discord and these people are, scheming against us? Did we let a juggalobalist amongst the midst of our Discord? The juggalobalist?
Gregory D. Warren,
Cody Redfield.
Bradford Coulter.
Aiden wants to be the ring bearer at the wedding.
Aw.
It's a heavy burden, Aiden.
Oh, the aforementioned Ice Church wedding from last month.
It's happening, guys.
Jar Jar Slinks.
Chosen One.
Levi Than,
Up and Champ.
Jonas Sangman.
Carl.
Anthony Mulberry.
The John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation.
Thank you. Elusive Koala.
Yanni Markovina.
Brooke X.
Jesus Christ.
Christian Van Skeever.
Jeremy Lowe.
Brian Hobgood.
Zach Connor.
Patreon_donator, yo.
Joe, Spooky Digital Ghost Tierney.
Tom Whittam.
Andrew Jadzik is concerned Chad is going to booby trap the wedding in some way.
If it's a church, can I have booby traps? That's a good question.
There's a separation of church and state, Chad, so you can do anything.
Yeah, if the booby traps are part of my religion.
But I do think Jesus said no boobies in church.
What did Ice Jesus say?
What did Ice Jesus say? And also, if we're trying to keep the entity trapped, we should have some booby traps.
This guy won't always trap the... What this guy wanting to keep this thing in?
I don't know, dude. I don't know, but he's losing. I feel like he's losing you. I feel like you're on.
The voters are with me. The voters are with me. Keep it in the ice.
At a nice church wedding, it is tradition, and it is not like a tradition you can choose not to do. You crack some ice at a nice church wedding.
That's not a tradition.
You
at
always
all.
crack some ice.
Who says name?
I think it's you.
Is it me? Okay, Lord Cornwallis.
Carson Birkenbean.
Murphy P.
Sean Minogue.
It's cool that we have Tevin Ticklebean.
It is cool, yeah.
Yeah. Rushy Glenn.
Wiggle it.
This is silly. Luke.
I sounded like I wasn't excited for you, Tavin Ticklebean. I am really excited. I'm in pain right now. Chip and Handsome.
Tanya Turtle. Or poor
What?
Paul.
I'll go back. Matt
Oh,
McClellan.
Well, I read the highlighted one, Chad.
This is chaos. I love it.
Okay, no Paul says one jalapeno.
One jalapeno.
Keith
We
Halcrow.
already recorded the episode. Keith Halcrow. I mean, Timothy Misadolakis.
Clay McCarty. Yow Gagarin.
Jesus Christ.
What is happening?
I believe that says Yowie Gagarin.
I know part of that word. I don't know. Yeah.
Hamboat?
Tell us more what you're doing, Clay. Hamboat. Raymond Hernandez.
The Crow fans, but seasonal. Thank you. It's so stable.
Matthew Sutton.
John Barber.
Jeff Coffey. I love your stuff.
Thank you, Jeff Coffey. Kelsey Kinnaman. I love a healthy dash of Kinnaman.
Russell Casper.
You know you say it with a hard K. Xavier Jimenez Castillo.
Chris Putrikis.
Scottie Pippen.
Tobias Clark.
Flamily.
Sarah Kemp.
Dungeon Kappa.
Are quicksand traps illegal?
Not if God made them.
Not if they're a nice church.
Zach Weir.
Limp Duck.
Meet Virginia.
Jonas Blotterman.
Alex Moon, the robotic dog.
Estimena, Lord of Paul's Pants.
Chris hand job ghost that came out the TV, Nelson.
Sounds nice. Paul Grasso.
Nice.
What a 1-2 punch, learning there's an afterlife and getting a hand job.
And that you have to give out hand jobs in it.
And during the hand job, you have so many questions. Is my grandmama there? But also don't talk about my grandmama. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Joe regular name Scott.
Did someone say Paul Grasso?
Paul Grasso.
You did now.
Joe regular name Scott.
Streak.
Kieran McNamara.
Diet soda.
Lamb.
Coleman Laguza.
A pair of Scots.
Luke Noodles.
She R-ing my L till I stein.
Is that the hand job ghost?
Jonas Enevoldsen.
Levi Kidder.
Get nasty while I Chromecasty.
David Gray.
Hugh Bolin.
Can you even get Chromecasts anymore? Sam Bambino.
I sure hope so. Just root for Google. They really need a win. Bryce Uri.
Matthew Bertato.
Some of Chad's bird friends chirp, listen to Camp Goosebuds to learn about Mickey Rourke's bird.
Oh, thank you, bird friends, advertising this podcast.
It's true.
Ma, the meatloaf.
Joe Gorman.
Burger's unfortunate divorce from the entity.
Oh.
And the rest of the polycule.
Not the polycule.
Good for you, Burger. You reinvent yourself.
What's a wedding without a little divorce?
Yeah, just don't announce it during the wedding. That's kind of rude to announce your divorce. Sorry, Google Doc was refreshing. Nicholas Maloney.
Andre Villanueva.
Nathan Remick.
Need more kimchi.
Lee Wood.
Eric Horwitz.
Tiffany Leah.
Thomas Jancis.
Lucretia McEvil.
Mutant astronaut.
Reed Stubendijk.
Henry Torbert.
Joey Evans.
Adam Knapp.
Carewise Gamgee.
Swaggy Yellow Squire.
Cameron Hansen.
Logan Derby.
Brad Schmelzer.
Chick.
Generally depressing.
The Deadly Bulb.
Kayla Monster Misfire West.
Ooh, monster misfire. Very cool. Mandy Nasty.
Ben Bohan.
Yoplin.
Philip Reynolds.
Resident Lorcana guy.
I'm so happy
Nice.
I got this one. Sonic is the perfect artistic creation. Chad Quandt, always.
Yeah, I stand by it.
Nate Bidgey.
Ryan R. Davis.
Scott Wable.
Calamity Carl.
Germ Juice.
Nick Johnson.
Ev Dog.
Tacky Tammy.
Gluten-free Rocky Mountain oysters. Yuck.
Ryan Carroll.
My dad ordered those at a restaurant one time, the weirdo. Megan McCormick Mason.
Did he know?
Oh, he knew. He knew what he was doing.
Oh boy. Greg Musto.
Sounds like someone needs to call Dr. Diarrhea after all those Rocky Mountain oysters.
Ninja Breadman.
Helodicus Frenchland.
Aaron Lord.
Sprinkle Buns.
Dr. Chocula.
Robot Arena.
SSJ Trogdor.
Oily Suds.
My Cart.
Cassandra Harris.
Max Boltzmann.
Whoa. Big Nick Lane.
Kira and Brian are big fans.
Mike Spaghetti Jones.
Blake Cabin.
Dan Antonio.
Oh, nice warble. Farrah.
Yeah. Badger and Skinny Pete made Totino's pizza party pizza. Made Totino's party pizza for you.
I've never had a Totino's. I thought they were going to be the rolls. What the hell's a Totino's
Yeah,
party pizza?
Yeah, having an actual pizza from them feels bizarre. That's a party.
I think a Totino's party pizza is Totino's rolls on a regular pizza.
Oh my god, you're right.
So it's a pizza.
It's an Elios.
Oh my god! And then you can fold
friggin'
it in on
Elios.
yourself and make a calzone pizza, Totino's party pizza.
Oh my god! Wait, is a Totino's like roll thing? Is that a calzone?
I guess they're just little calzones.
Those are micro
guess.
calzones.
Oh my god!
You could sell them for really expensive if you called them micro calzones.
Yeah, you can just put them in a big bowl with milk and eat them.
Oh my god.
Wait, a big bowl of sour cream.
Yep.
Oh my god. Ranch.
Yes, ranch.
Quest.
Postmaster.
No, ranch. No, put it in ranch right now, quick.
the children call out for ranch. Chris Curdo.
Cole Gleason.
Red Baron.
Oh, pizza. Jesse Boggs.
Put some ranch on it. Michael Malloy.
Soggy newspaper, soggy from all the ranch.
Chris Kulik. Get a little liquor ranch.
Dakota Kemp.
John W. The W stands for ranch.
Could that be a shirt? Can the shirt just say ranch but with a W on it?
What the hell is going on today?
Ranch?
Ranch. That's like a wrench, but ranch.
Well, ranch.
Yeah.
Kyle O'Neill.
Time eats flesh.
Saturn Video.
It's all going in. Kiwi O'Flurry.
Anthony Stoker.
Brony Danza.
Oh, Tannerhide wants more pretend friends in Goosebuds RPG.
Oh, baby.
I do too.
I do too.
Me too. We gotta make more time.
I do too.
Wonderskin.
Max
is a strong dog in the prime of life. Oh, good for you, Max.
Oh no, guys, the Wonderskins are getting closer together.
God, if the Wonderskins meet. Max, you are a strong dog keeping the Wonderskins from ever touching. You need
always live, Max.
Keep supporting us on the Book of Names. There's pressure. Skeetor.
Hurt, a.k.a. Cyberbully.
Philforce, force of the future.
Kit Bush.
Cyrus Sin.
Blarbin.
Dennis Wright.
You over the moon.
Cameron Gonzaveld.
Logan Kilgus.
Creature of the Office. Boss Ferratu.
Starship 9.
Dacius the Goon, formerly Goon Cahoots. Thank you for letting us know when you change your name to
Yeah.
If everyone could keep a long chain of all of their names, please. Don't do that. Rat IRL.
Matt Septor.
Greg and his Gregorian chanting army of metal monks pledge their shred to Kevin.
What?
Yeah.
Sick. Daniel Hirschberger.
B.
Jeff, Big Baby, and his wife, not a big baby.
Odin's _ eye hole. I should have said it the right way. Odin's _ eye hole. Sorry.
This is getting real meta.
S.
Problem Child 2 on DVD.
It's a great name. Taraku, the thing that goes doink in the anime.
But that's not. I want to clarify, Taraku is not the thing that goes doink. It's an unrelated name.
Don't confuse Chad with that stuff. Doink.
Greb Bomix.
Spencer Y.
Fun little change. LOD.
Clint Deerking.
Agents Miskatonic.
Hey, Pelican. Capybaras are friends, not food.
Important information. Save a life. Nail 7.
3 a.m. sleep.
Edgar Crashes.
Ben Floyos Sayer.
The Venomous Viper.
Bob Cabbage.
Angelo Edward Longton Santone.
Smelodies.
Jafar, while publicly supporting melting the ice, secretly pledges in his freezing booby traps to Chad to keep the ice frozen. Where did all these booby traps come from?
People should fear what's under the ice. Thank you, Jafar.
Jolly Old Jules.
Number 1 gnome.
The Shrekonomicon.
Spencer Leith Johnston.
Caleb Snyder summons a skeleton with sunglasses.
Radical. Geech.
Lumo Nuva.
Brian Udath.
A tall, succulent glass of dumb bitch juice, y'all. Hee-haw.
MC Wright.
Taylor Garofalo.
Complex.
Seal Reagan is new holder of the Book of Names.
They called it.
Be careful, it's hot.
Nintendo 60 Jorts.
Daniel Hirschberger.
Again?
They're moving closer together.
2 Daniel Hirschbergers?
What is happening?
Not complaining. If you guys want to pledge twice to have your name twice in the book, you can do that. That's a thing you can do.
Tig Ass Biddies 007?
Justin.
Crazy ass nipples also getting closer to Tig Ass Biddies?
Oh my god, they're gonna meet.
Mimel the Delph, damn. Elflad Fuckable.
Adam G.
Treehouse of George.
Jaybird.
Jim Corey.
Jakibe.
This Yeti pledges his spaghetti to Lord Kevinetti.
Yay.
Oh, I saw a fun kids book that's about a Yeti eating spaghetti.
Whoa, that really unites the cultures.
Nat Noah.
Carly Beth's parents 808. Carly Beth has been asking if the Ice Church supports castle doctrine.
I would like to talk about if we have religious freedom to have booby traps.
I want to support castle doctrine, but I'm also afraid that will allow Chad to have his booby traps inside of the church, which is the castle. So, no.
Carly Beth, we'll get back to you. We need to talk to our lawyers.
Toten Watson.
Wyvern.
We'll know when we get to the tape. Shelly Castillo Garcia.
Daniel Lavelle.
Quinn.
Angus Keith.
Big old dumb burb playing Celasta at Ice Church. Hell yeah.
Celeste.
We totally have a PC gaming room at the Ice Church.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Felix.
It's for the lock-ins. Cameron Murphy.
Oh my god.
Thanos Shaq.
Oh my god, it's an unstoppable juggernaut.
Too scary.
Nathan Galindo.
Mitchell Showalter.
I would pitch Galactus Shaq, honestly. Shaq Lactus. Patrick Nielsen.
Just gonna eat the old planet in a big old bite.
Secretly, though.
Well, yeah, secretly. Wolf CIA can't cater the wedding if booby traps.
Do you want to do that to the Wolf CIA, Chad?
I don't know. I mean, what if we lay out a map with the booby traps for you and only you know it? CIA should be on top of this.
J. Fenn Crane.
Damon the Demon.
Lee Murphy.
Steamed Ham.
John Keller.
Ari
Eric.
Andrew.
Kyle Koliba.
That was kind of fun.
That's neat.
Yeah.
And now, new friends for the Book of Names. Hope you're ready to hold it, C.L. Reagan. It's going to get heavier. Caleb Snyder's friend Michael is ready to watch Transformers 5. Have fun, Michael.
You shouldn't do that one. You should skip that one.
That's the one with what's his name in it, right? And he's trying to
Marky Mark's in the last two.
Date his daughter or something. That's weird.
The Last Night, yeah. Merlin used to know Transformers. It's wild.
Yeah, Mike, see?
And welcome to the Book of Names, Czar Kazem. Thank you all so very much for your love and support.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.